Good afternoon and welcome to CVM Live, the noon edition on CVM Television, online at cvmtv.com. And remember, you can download our CVM TV Smart app from the Google Play Store and the App Store. Transport and Mining Minister Robert Montague has made suggestions geared towards reforming the public transportation sector, which he says cannot continue on the same trajectory. CVM's Khadija Thomas with this report.
The minister announced a comprehensive approach to tackling indiscipline on the nation's streets, including tracking devices to restricting drivers with criminal records from operating a public transportation vehicle. The minister, however, says he's also welcoming of alternative suggestions from the public.
Some of my proposals include having a GPS tracker on a public passenger vehicle that is on at all times. And that is to ensure that the Transport Authority knows where a taxi is at all times. So that when a taxi driver is accused of committing a crime, we at least know where the car was.
Montague also proposes that the badge of all convicted drivers be withdrawn in ensuring safety and security for passengers.
We can't have our children, we can't have our co-workers, we can't have our sons and daughters being driven around even day or night by a child molester, by a gunman, by a drug dealer. Those persons are not to be in the industry.
The transport minister says once a driver is seen operating a motor vehicle without his or her badge, the owner and operator must be penalized. He says they have a duty of care once carrying passengers. He adds that drivers who operate in rural areas should also be given the option to design their own routes.
I want to know if, because some bureaucrat that sits in Kingston behind a desk decide that this is not a route, it means nobody not live there. It means what he's doing is not necessary. So how the children must reach school? So we are saying, allow people to design a route and apply and register the route with the authorities.
Montague was speaking at the IGL 6th Annual Health and Safety and Environment Road Safety Awards breakfast ceremony. Khadija Thomas, CVM Live.
Education Minister Senator Ruel Reid says global investors are looking to countries with highly trained students to make their investment. He's now calling on more to be done in bettering the management and leadership in all educational institutions. The rape case involving popular entertainer Capleton, whose real name is Clifton Bailey, has been put off until next month. Capleton was accompanied by his manager, Claudette Kemp, and other close associates to the Kingston and St. Andrew Parish Court on Thursday. The scenes outside the court were not much different than when he made his first appearance on May 14, with supporters lingering on the outside, some decked out in colors indicative of their Rastafarian beliefs. Capleton, whose real name is Clifton Bailey, was charged with rape on May 11. The allegations are that 51-year-old artiste hired a hairdresser who went to a hotel in New Kingston on April 28 to groom his hair. According to the police, the woman claims that while there, he held her down and had sexual intercourse with her against her will. Still on court matters, the charges brought against Antiguan football coach 49-year-old Derek Edwards and his co-accused 48-year-old equipment coordinator Danny Benjamin have been dropped. The men were charged with the possession of ganja, dealing in ganja, taking steps preparatory to export ganja, and conspiracy. Here is CVM's court reporter Nicoy Wilson.
Antiguan coach Derek Edwards and co-accused Danny Benjamin are now making preparations to get back home after they were freed of ganja-related charges on Thursday. Their acquittal came after the prosecution admitted that despite the video from the hotel the men were staying, they would not have sufficient evidence to move the case forward. The men were arrested at the Norman Manley International Airport on March 26. The police say it was after a search of their luggage that they discovered 3.6 pounds of ganja. Both men, who spent some time in jail before they were offered bail, are now happy about the outcome of the case.
We were innocent, and we know all along we were innocent, of those charges. But I think that it was a difficult situation for us because we were in a strange country.
His fellow Antiguan, Danny Benjamin, shared similar sentiments.
It's very hard and pain, and they are suffering, for me, it was very tough and stressful, and I will never forget these days, because it's a situation that we never thought of being in a situation there. In my country, we are ambassadors to our country, and this thing do happen.
When CVM Live asked the men if they would return to Jamaica, they said yes with some hesitation. Their attorney Bert Samuels expressed satisfaction with the result, but lamented the situation the men found themselves in.
The prosecutor was very, very fair. She looked at the DVD. She looked at what happened in the lobby of the hotel just before they left for the airport and found that others were in control and in possession of the bags, which were ultimately found to have had marijuana. The men have suffered. They were at Hunts Bay lockup, which is the worst lockup possibly in the world. They suffered a lot from what happened. We're happy that the prosecutor did the right thing and the judge endorsed it.
Nicoy Wilson, CVM Live.
Local Government Minister Desmond Mackenzie prepared the members of the St. Catherine Municipal Corporation for some of the initiatives that will be coming on stream in short order, including the repair of 3 roads in the constituency. CVM's Joel Croskill reports.
Minister of Local Government Desmond Mackenzie ran through a slew of issues that affect local governance during his address to the St. Catherine Municipal Corporation recently, including provisions that have been made for road repairs in constituencies across the island.
I made a commitment last year that each municipality will receive $25 million for roads. Now let me explain what this $25 million for roads is about. It is not to be chopped up and give one man 1,000, 1 million, or 3 million. It is intended to fix 3 or 4 good roads in the parish. And what does a good road entail? Sidewalk, curb and channel, on a decent road.
The minister also spoke about garbage collection, noting that it is not a favor being done by solid waste. However, he emphasized the role of citizens in ensuring garbage is disposed of properly.
I'm expecting that in your community meetings and in your group meetings and in your branch meetings, you will speak to your constituents about the role that they have to play to be decent and law-abiding citizens in the disposal of their solid waste.
With Jamaica officially entering the hurricane season, the minister spoke of a new approach to allocations to councillors in communities that may feel the effects of severe weather events.
And I have indicated from early that I do not intend to go the route that I did last year in making allocations right across the board to each councillor.
Joel Croskill, CVM Live.
Jamaica's real estate market has experienced steady growth between 2016 and 2017. According to the Senior General Manager of the Retail Banking Division at the National Commercial Bank, NCB, Brian Booth, realtors played a significant role in that achievement.
And there's no doubt that our realtors have played a significant part in the positive trend by forming the bridge between buyers and sellers and channeling customers to appropriate financial institutions. At NCB, we pride ourselves on forming mutually beneficial partnerships with our stakeholders.
Speaking at the launch of NCB Realtors Incentive Program, Booth says NCB was never seen as an entity that offered mortgage solutions, but has changed in recent times.
In 2012, however, we decided to refocus on the mortgage market and became the first institution in many decades to offer single-digit mortgage rates to our valued customers. We followed that initiative by offering mortgage indemnity insurance with up to 97% now financing through the Jamaica Mortgage Bank. We also established our mortgage administration unit and centralized the processing of mortgages.
Booth says this allowed them to better serve their stakeholders and decrease turnaround time. NCB also established other partnerships.
In 2017, we partnered with the NHT to offer joint mortgages under the Joint Financing Mortgage Program. Then, on June 1 of this year, we again set the trend by offering mortgage interest rates of 7.45%, one of the lowest currently in the marketplace.
Under the program, realtors in Jamaica can now earn up to $750,000 plus 1% commission on every mortgage referred. Minority leader in the Kingston and St. Andrew Municipal Corporation, Andrew Swaby, says vendors of the Constant Spring Arcade have been treated unfairly. This, he says, after vendors disclosed their anxiety surrounding the plans of the KSAMC to demolish the Constant Spring Market, where they have worked for years. CVM's Khadija Thomas has this report.
I believe that we have not shown any sympathy or concern for the vendors.
Despite plans by the Kingston and St. Andrew Municipal Corporation to demolish the Constant Spring Market, which is in keeping with stated regulations, Minority Leader Andrew Swaby says the vendors will be totally deprived of their livelihood.
To be fair to the Kingston and St. Andrew Municipal Corporation, they have invited them for a meeting, which they turned up at the council. But the meeting was abruptly ended because a particular councillor came in the room and insisted that that meeting cannot be held or should not be held.
The Constant Spring Market is to be demolished to make way for a widened roadway, but Councillor Swaby says he's not aware of the design, but is certain that it will have an impact on the vendors.
I don't know if they'll be using all the spaces. I don't know if the Kingston and St. Andrew Municipal Corporation have examined it to see if how can they be accommodated. I know that they have said to the vendors, not in a formal way, that they should look at the other markets in the municipality. We have to understand that these persons, some of these persons are there for up to 40 years.
Swaby says these vendors will lose their clientele if they move to other locations. He says it would be better if they remain within proximity of the Constant Spring Market.
I believe also that we should talk to the vendors, show them the design of the road, and see what alternative measures can be arrived at. In fact, these persons are human beings just like anyone else.
Khadija Thomas for CVM Live.
And for the latest headlines on the international scene, we now join the BBC.
President Trump's imposing 25% tariffs on $50 billion worth of technologically advanced Chinese goods. That's on top of existing ones on steel and aluminium. Beijing says it will respond in kind. Well, Mr. Trump says he has given the North Korean leader a phone number to allow Kim Jong-un to reach him directly. He also claimed to have largely solved the problem over North Korea's nuclear program. Saudi-led forces involved in the fighting in Yemen are reported to have reached the airport, which serves the port of Hodeidah, the entry point for many of the vital humanitarian supplies being brought into the war-torn country. And Uruguay have beaten Egypt by 1-0 at the World Cup. Jose Jimenez heading in a last-minute winner. Egypt's star striker Mo Salah was only named